Good evening, dear friends. We are live with you again. Today we are talking about egregors. This word has existed for a long time, and only now quantum physics, quantum dynamics, quantum mechanics, and quantum biology have managed to unlock and unveil to people what egregors actually are. In order to understand this topic, it's necessary to start learning quantum physics, and then it will be easy to understand what energy informational structure is and what its design is, which we call an egregor. An egregor, from the perspective of quantum physics, is a quantum superposition that has a certain coherent fluctuation state. What does it mean? Speaking simply, we can see that this energy informational field that has the state of fluctuation in its wave state, the state of superposition, without the original singled out state and simultaneously aware of itself, and only an observer with their consciousness of an observer, the state of observation, can single out certain fluctuations from this superposition that create matter. Let's talk a little about it in more simple language that will be easy to understand, because today's audience are ordinary people, and these people would like to understand what this egregor actually is and how to protect from it, how does it look like, where is it, and whether it has an impact on people. In order to get to the roots of this very complex, difficult topic, it's necessary to approach the understanding of the cosmic structure and, of course, the structure of human beings. Why? Because an observer and cosmic observation are one. Every person is one with quantum fields and with the entire structure of cosmic reality. Every person is part and the state who, with the help of their inner intention and desire, the radiation, inner emanation, recreates and singles out what they are creating in life. For example, when a person wants something and they have very strong intention, they begin to interact with the observed, and these are quantum waves, quantum superposition, which does not have a singled out state. A superposition simultaneously has all mixed up states. These are the state of coherent fields, and these fields are simultaneously fields until a moment of observation. As soon as an observer begins the process of observation, and it means they desire something, they begin to impact with their force field and affect the coherence of these fields. And these processes create the process of fragmentarity. Fragmentarity is the initial state of particles, such as atoms, electrons, and protons, which have a certain state. Photonic light fields, which create certain biological structures and the process of reality. We can say that we are made of quantum fluctuations. Quantum is made of quantum fields, which are in a constant state of superposition. Superposition is a state whereby, in the state of timelessness, there exist many things in one another, and they are one, they cannot be separated, they are in the merged whole state, and only as soon as the observer begins to observe these fields, this superposition, only then does the process of singling out and fragmentarity begins, and these are the quantum fluctuations. These fluctuations turn into particles in this moment, and from this moment the time-space continuum emerges, the space-time continuum state emerges, and this is the way the cosmos, the worlds, and reality are created. Every person is in this process eternally. As long as a person lives on a material plane, he is in a state of fluctuations, quantum fluctuations. When a person leaves the material plane, they are back into quantum superposition. So what is an egregor here? An egregor is the quantum fluctuations, and it means that an egregor is intelligent energy, energy informational fields that have intelligence. They are intelligent, they are self-governing, and automatically they are subject to the influence of an observer, and this is you. Given this, quantum physics arrives at the understanding that a person himself, the nations, countries, territories, lands, settlements, villages, cities, create their own egregors, the energy informational fluctuations, quantum energy informational structures, which, with the help of gravity field, the force field of every individual, and the territorial gravitational field, gravity exists on the entire planet. These quantum fluctuations, with their informational fields, with their fragments, are drawn and suspended on this or that territory. And depending on the level of consciousness of nations, neighbors, people who live on a certain territory, the energy informational structure is formed. And this is the quantum energy informational structure that has its correlatory. And what is correlatory? It's modifiable. The space is never static, it's in a constant process of modification. And this is the structure that is suspended, it's hovering above the territory space where there are a certain number of people with a certain level of consciousness. If we leave the city, we begin to feel a relief. When we are back in the city, we feel a certain density, certain pressure, and people refer to it as an egregor. This is the energy informational quantum structure with the correlatory state. It's a modifiable state, and modifiable quantum structure, which is at the same time the fields which have the state of superposition. And as soon as an observer, and this is you with your consciousness as an observer, begin to affect this superposition, even before your request knows what you are going to choose, it begins to reproduce for you what you are asking for. What I am saying now has been proven by many scientists in California, by German and Dutch scientists too, and many other scientists. It has been proven. I am now sharing these scientific facts. This is how science explains the state of an egregor as an energy informational structure. Every city has its own energy informational structure, which depends on the observers, and these are residents of this or that city. When we are moving from the city, we feel the energetic relief, we feel freedom, we feel good, we are calm and joyful, and this indicates that in that place, in that location where we experience a relief, there is no state of pressure, the cognitive state of pressure by people with their consciousness. We can say that the consciousness of every person, the character of every person, their world understanding, world perception, upbringing, level of culture, morality, values, level of their intellect, developed or undeveloped, all of these factors create the state of an observer. And an individual as an observer applies pressure on the quantum superposition and then singles out from this superposition, we can even say takes from this superposition, chooses from it that factor, that state which they are aligned with. And we can say that the thoughts of every individual, their intentions and feelings, as an observer, affect the quantum fields, quantum vacuum. You are simultaneously every every moment are connected directly with the material physical vacuum. This is how it is called in scientific terms. Every individual, by influencing the quantum fields, chooses what they are choosing. Cosmos never looks at it as something bad or good, it just is the way it is. Everyone chooses what they want for their current process of evolution. Some people choose difficult processes of life, fall, destruction, illusions, delusions. They choose it and they receive this process. Other people who have realized the process of choice making after realizing the method of an observer and having understood the method of shaping the correlatory quantum superposition of creating their own reality in simple words. When such people realize it, they are more aware when they approach their method of observation. And it is these conscious people who begin to live well, and it is only possible in one case when an individual begins the process of their development. There are no other options. This is how it is. Again, back to egregors. Energy informational structures are formed by the consciousness of people, by their choice, character, their intentions, their thoughts, their understanding of life. All of this is shaped by us, and this creates a certain energetic volume, which you call an egregor. This is an energy informational structure. Every city has its own superposition, quantum superposition, which is determined by the people who live there. And as an egregor, of course, it has an effect on people. Given these quantum informational fluctuations, which have the quantum fields, have different fields and different, let's say, quantum light emanations, and these are the destructive or positive events. Cosmos does not analyze, and it's all the same for cosmos, whether it's the energy plus positive or the minus energy. The plus energy is the positive creative energy, and the minus energy is the zero energy, which has only a negative charge. We know that electrons, protons, atoms, and protons and electrons are part of an atom, contain the negative and positive charges of energy. And this means that there are good and bad events. Cosmos never analyzes what to give you when you are concentrating your attention as an observer, whether it gives you bad or good. Cosmos just gives you. And I want to tell you that the superposition itself, the quantum superposition, has certain field structures. And the closer to this planet we are, we see denser, more negatively charged informational structures, informational quantum fields. Why is that so? Because the majority of people on the planet have destructive state of consciousness. They have destructive thoughts of fear, ignorance, rudeness, pride, arrogance, and greed and materiality. We will talk about it later today, and we will also talk about the protection from destructive egregors. We will talk about it. But I want to explain to you in depth, and I want to prove to you that you yourselves choose from the quantum superposition that what you experience in your life, in your families. You have been doing it, you are doing it, and you will do it. This is how you are designed, how the world is designed. I'm also doing it. And this is the way of life of every person. I have come to the conclusion. If all people were developed right now, they would not allow any destructive thoughts, the destructive correlation and choice from the quantum superposition. They would be choosing only the positive and creative. We would not be facing catastrophes, wars and destructions, arguments and conflicts. No one would fight, no one would offend and humiliate anyone. Instantaneously, the right choice of the quantum fluctuations would bring to the planet the creative, good world. And it would happen instantly. Why? Because the quantum superposition is in a state of timelessness. And as soon as an individual with their choice concentrates their attention on this superposition, they concentrate their focus, their desire, and they radiate the high field of consciousness, which is the observer. And this way they impact the quantum superposition, which contains everything, both good and bad, for all times, for the past, for the present, and the future, for all people, for all times. The quantum information in its quantum superposition is not divided, it's in a blended, merged, dissolved in each other field. It's one state, one field. These waves are all entangled, both good and bad, the creative and destructive are one in another. They are not singled out, they are not separate. They are in the state of timelessness. And as soon as we see that a person begins to look at this quantum superposition, it begins to turn into the fluctuational state. It is concentrated into a certain informational fluctuation of the informational cell, which are called patterns. These patterns contain, each pattern contains energy informational structure, which is correlated into particles. This is how the reality is created by you, by all of you. This is science, my friends. And if the quantum physics is unveiling for you the process of shaping reality, I think that all of you need to not only believe in it, but to try and understand it. Why? Because you need to shape your reality skillfully. Because on the planet, the quantum fluctuations, the quantum waves, the quantum superposition has become more intense, and the waves are reproduced much faster. The process of the release of the process of fluctuation and the creation of particles, this is the state of particles, is now happening much faster, and this means that you started shaping your reality much faster than it was before. Therefore, people right now are either developing quickly, you need to do it very quickly, immediately, and they will live well. And that's why they're here on the planet, or they refuse to do so and they live a bad life, and this way they are self-destroying. And the world needs to become aware of it. There is only the path of development when you develop, when you explore the science and you understand how the reality is shaped, when you understand what these egregors are. Because you are aware of many words, but you do not know what it means, and you use it in many different aspects, but without understanding what it is. So you are either developing and you live well, or without the development, without studying, you have a very bad life and you will leave this plane of evolution. This is the quantum superposition that we are now living in. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it is the way it is. And because it is like that, then we, people who understand it, we need to begin to explore and study the quantum physics. Quantum physics explains your process process of your spiritual evolutionary development. It explains it as science, and it tells us that the higher mind is the state of quantum superposition, which is in a certain energy informational field structures. There is the primary torsion field, which is made of wave superposition, and the fluctuations are not manifested there yet. As soon as these fields descend into the physical vacuum, once they're inside it, they reproduce the fluctuations, and this way they create the state of particles. And from these particles, our reality is made. The planets, bodies, physical objects, everything is made of it. It goes through certain stages, energetic phases of ether, which is at the core of this process of modification. And given this, our matter is shaped. Every one of us chooses from the quantum superposition the life that you are living now. You have chosen it. The problems, difficulties, and hardships were chosen by you. You were brought into delusion. For the last 50 years, you were not developed. You were brought into the illusory idea of freedom. I'm doing what I want. And this way, they allowed you to unlock and manifest your animal nature. This animal nature, in the process of quantum changes, enters into resonance with informational fields, and without knowledge, without the understanding what you are doing, you are shaping difficult, destructive life. Yes, you are doing it. And only those people who are aware of these processes say, no, no, it's enough of suffering. I want to understand what is happening. I realize that what I have created, and I need to understand how I did it. I need to do it urgently, and I need to change all of it immediately. And for this, I need to take responsibility for my life, for all of my choices and thoughts and feelings. And I want to prove you why. It turns out that your mental structures, your thoughts, are made of energy informational fields, quantum superposition. They have their force, charge, and fields. And with these thoughts, with the force fields and charges, as we have said, thoughts have these charges and fields. You affect quantum superposition, and from this superposition you draw, you pull out, with the help of your internal gravitational field, which you have inside you. You have the enzymes of metal, and these metal elements attract from the superposition fluctuational particles which shape your reality. And these are your inner states, diseases. All of this is shaped by you. These are your mental fields and your mental charges. This is how science speaks of them. They affect quantum fluctuations. There is everything in the quantum superposition, good and bad. Cosmos does not analyze anything. It contains everything. And all of it is in a state, let's call it unmanifested state. And only you as an observer, by influencing this unmanifested, you begin to single out, you begin to affect it with your intentions, with your potential. You single out the desired by you. But many people do not know how to desire correctly. Very often, every person has a voice in their head. There is some music playing in their head, or some unpleasant bad thoughts are spinning. And what is happening in this moment? You are an observer, and your negative thoughts create negative fields. And as an observer, you impact the force fields of quantum emanations, quantum superposition, which contains everything. And therefore, from these quantum fields, you attract, you choose your state. In this way, people who are similar in their world understanding create similar fields. They make similar choices, which shapes one whole energy informational structure, which you call an egregor. We can come to the conclusion, we can draw a parallel and understand. A kind, spiritual, developed person will choose only a high frequency from superposition. And this is the pure state. It's a purified state. And this state creates the harmonious good life. An aggressive, destructive person, a person who does not have ethics and manners, they also affect the field and they choose what they are. And it does not matter that they do not believe in it. It does not matter that the majority of people do not know about it. They are doing it. And so they receive it. And because they receive it, they bear responsibility for it, direct responsibility. And what if people do not want to be responsible for it? And they do not want to take responsibility and agree with it. They are still responsible. They still receive what they radiate. It happens anyway. You cannot escape it. Of course, you can do something about it. You can change yourself. You can change your inner field state, the way you observe. The state of an observer can be changed. You should become a good observer. You should become an ethical, cultured person, mentally, morally, mentally cultured person. You need to only think creative thoughts. You need to feel only creative, positive state. And this is your force charge, with which you affect the quantum fields, quantum waves. And then you choose these waves, and as soon as you have chosen them, according to the double slit experiment, you fluctuate these states into particles, into atoms, which contain protons and electrons. This is what it is. This is how reality is shaped. And therefore, the system of Matrix knew how to lead this planet to the current state just by substituting values, by not giving you development and knowledge. But this knowledge was known by Anatoly Akimov many years ago. He described the structure of the cosmos, starting from the primary torsion field, then moving on to the vacuum, physical vacuum, mental state, etheric state, and the dense matter. He has described it very well. And why universities and schools do not share this knowledge? Why people were not told about it? Why in nursery schools children are not told that they affect their reality with their thoughts? They create a reality. It's simple to tell people about it. Why in schools no one speaks about it? Ask yourself this question. But if all people found out about it now and changed their thoughts and their choice, the choice from quantum fields, if they made the right choice, then immediately on the planet the peace would come. Peace, joy, kindness, everything would have the highest level. But it's impossible to do so. Many people are incapable of doing so in this life. Perhaps when they reincarnate it will be possible, but not in this life anymore. This is the situation that we have on the planet. And therefore, my friends, we have what we have, and what has been chosen will happen. Everyone will bear the responsibility for their choices. Just like now, everyone is responsible for their choices. And so everyone has exactly what we have chosen, what we have shaped as observers, that what we have created. What we have chosen and created is called an egregor. People call it that way without understanding it. An egregor contains, and it is so by studying quantum physics, if we look at the superposition, everything is in one another in the unmanifested state in the primary torsion field. The primary torsion field is the unmanifested state of matter, but it contains all information to shape matter. And when a person has the access to this primary torsion field, they have the possibility and the state and the intention to shape their good reality, their good life, to live the life that they want to live. And for every one of you, there exists in the cosmos the law of free will and free choice. In principle, what does this law tell us about? It says that you have the right to choose from the quantum superposition what you want to choose. What you have already experienced is annihilated automatically into the state of fluctuations, but informationally it is kept. It is kept in a state of patterns. Patterns, as I have told you, are informational units, cells, which contain a certain information about something. And so, egregors are, with the help of gravitational fields, attract informational state. There is such a notion as the egregor of war or an egregor of peace. What are these things? This is the state of patterns which contain a certain similar information, and this similar information contained in these patterns is at the same time singled out from quantum fields, and at the same time it is still in these fields dissolved as information. It becomes manifest when the majority of observers start observing it and they single out, and so these people themselves shape their own egregors. With their intentions they do so. If they are belligerent, they create these belligerent states. If they are peacemakers, they create peace. It all depends on the inner state, consciousness of people, and this includes education, culture, morality, ethics, developed intellect, the lifestyle. Everything plays a role. And of course, the state of the brain plays a role. The brain is also involved in these choices and quantum transformations. It's directly involved, my friends. I will tell you a bit later. Egregors as informational structures, let's call it, they are hovering above the spaces of people where people live. If in this city there are the majority of unkind people and belligerent people, then the egregor of war will be there. But besides this informational structure, there is another egregor of kind people, and there is the egregor of kindness. They generate and choose from quantum fields kindness, mercy, love, understanding, acceptance, care for one another. So there is also an egregor of goodness, and each egregor as an energy informational intelligent structure. Quantum fields are intelligent. It's scientifically proven. Why? Because they are created by the supreme intelligence. By having intelligence, these egregors always know, let's call it this way, they can foresee the steps of people and their choices. They know in advance what choices will be made. It's also scientifically proven. Before the process of energetic creation of particles takes place, these particles already know what choice will be made. Scientists find it difficult to understand, but they realize that most probably these waves and particles are so intelligent that they can foresee each other. They have all foreseen, predicted variations of events. When people ask me when this or that will happen, my friends, every moment, every instant, you affect the reality as a kaleidoscope. And because people are constantly changing their choices, minds, and in the process of quantum transition, your choices are becoming very fast, and you think one moment one thing, then another day you're thinking something else. The psyche of people is not stable, and it means every moment of your life you make a different choice, and human thinking has become very chaotic. In the chaotic state, you cannot choose one superposition. You choose the energy informational structure of the destructive nature, with the inner chaos, with inner state of instability, lack of confidence, fears. A person in this way chooses the bad, the negative, and therefore shapes the same reality, which is shaped of these quantum fluctuations, quantum fields. Moreover, scientists from California have proven that every individual having the connection with the quantum field also have the connection with the physical vacuum, and they attract the fluctuations from there. First, these fluctuations enter the human brain as the consciousness, as the emanations of waves, and only inside the neurons' synapses there are microscopic tubes, and inside these tubes the quantum waves are turned into the so-called quantum fluctuations, particles, states. You have the inner microbiology, where you experience disintegration and creation and dying of cells, and the life is boiling inside you. How is it happening? With the help of informational fields, which are processed inside your synapses, the tubes, and then the particles are produced. So brain is involved directly in all of these processes. That is why brain needs to be kept in purity, and you should not allow to drink and smoke, because brain needs to be taken care of. The brain processes these waves by turning these waves into particles inside of your organism, and therefore Californian scientists have managed to prove that every person being connected with the physical vacuum and quantum fields can not only affect their life events. So a person does not only shape their reality as an observer, but as an observer, every individual can influence the reality of another person. This is a scientific fact, and you are afraid. You say, oh, probably Rodina influences us. My friends, you influence each other. It's scientifically proven. I want you to hear me, my friends. Sometimes I conduct the consultations, and I am in dismay. I When I hear how people live their lives, I'm just dismayed. You should not live like that. You should not live like that. You need to change it urgently. You need to realize what I'm sharing with you today and understand that you create everything. You need to understand how you do it and begin to create only good things, good creative things. You need to do it. No one can do it for you, ever. Yes, of course, we can affect and influence, as I have said, but still, it's your life. No one can live it for you. Only you can live your own life. Every moment you continue as an observer to influence the quantum fields, and this means you are choosing from them, and by this choice you create your life. I have told you in such detail so many times how it all works. Please believe me and start your development urgently. You are either developing and living happily, or without development you will leave this world forever. There are no other options. There is nothing in between here. This is the life we live now, and in the 5 years that are coming, we will continue witnessing it. You are either developing and you are rising, or you are experiencing the decline and fall. It's important to understand it. Now, back to your brain. I have mentioned that inside the microscopic tubes, inside your brain, the process of the reproduction is happening. The waves are turning into particles. This is how your thoughts are processed. When the wave comes to you, it's a wave. And when the wave is processed and reproduced in your little tubes in a form of fluctuations. It's turning into the substance of particles. This is how your thoughts create particles. They are either creative or destructive. If you think about oncology, if you think about difficult diseases, bad diseases, then by thinking about these diseases, these waves are turning into particles. This is a fact. You need to understand it and begin your very profound work on yourself and your psyche. By science, it is proven that through your consciousness, your brain is connected with the fields of quantum physical vacuum. The physical vacuum is made of quantum fluctuations, but these fluctuations contain automatically quantum informational patterns. Quantum informational patterns are simultaneously waves and particles. The double slit experiment explains it. And given the fact that your brain has the connection with the physical vacuum, it indicates that you, with your brain, with your world understanding, world perception, force fields, affect this vacuum. And you take from this vacuum, which is also proven by science, every individual generates electricity. Every individual, every moment, every instant radiates energy centrifugally and receives quantum waves centripetally. And this is centripetal energy. This is the design of life on the planet. Plants, animals, everything follows this pattern of centripetal current and centrifugal current of energy. Centripetal current is the quantum waves which are processed by your brains. And then this information, these waves are processed inside the brain and you begin to radiate it. Whatever you have radiated, you receive back. And this is the mechanism. There is nothing else. Whether you want it or not, this is so. You may say, well, then, if I think, it does not happen instantly. I can answer you, because you do not believe that this can happen instantly. This is one condition. Secondly, do not forget that you already have shaped reality. You have already made the prior choice, which has shaped your current reality. And inside this reality, there are fluctuational fields, which have created your reality. We cannot forget about it. If this chair is here, someone has created it, and so they have embedded their thought, their vibration in it. Many people were involved in it. Fabric was chosen, nature was involved. It was a lengthy process, and now we can see it. Again, it's proven by science. When the processes of the so-called quantum tunneling are happening, what happens is that the instant process of reproduction takes place, the reproduction of particles. But this process of creating particles first happens in the primary torsion field, and there is no time there. And then the time appears in the quantum physical vacuum, where the fluctuational particles emerge. As soon as these fluctuations appear, the space-time emerges. In this physical vacuum, the time begins, and all transformations, all fluctuations go through the process of the structural lattice of time. This is the photonic structural light lattice that is called time. So the unit of measurement is added, which is time. Time has accelerated now, and so all our intentions and thoughts are manifested faster. What does time give us? How does it affect the process of producing particles and creating matter? Time needs to compress these fluctuational waves particles and shape matter, and this requires time. But time is needed in order to manifest something on the material plane, and time does not exist when this happens in a primary torsion field or on higher levels of physical vacuum. It turns out the physical vacuum has layers. There is the structure of photonic lattice states, which contain the structural pattern lattice, which creates the reality on this planet. Apologies, my friends. I'm looking at Sergei Arkadyevich. He is sitting there, and if you could see him, you would laugh together with me. He is sitting and he is thinking, when will Rodina stop, and when can I ask at least some questions in order to understand all of it? I need to continue speaking, and I need to tell you something else. Allow me, please. There are some more factors which I need to share with you. I have the intention of sharing it with all of our viewers today. My friends, every one of you with your consciousness, with the particles of your healthy brain, has an access to the informational fields. And from there, you can take pure information. You will say, wait a moment, you have said that good and bad are in one another. Yes and no, it's the divine dichotomy. Have you ever heard of it? Yes and no exist at the same time. But still, when is it yes? When you have the pure consciousness and the healthy state of your brain, you interact with the primary torsion field, which does not have time. You draw from there a certain state. Then this fact of your choice making is affected by your internal superposition, and this is your genuine state, who you are authentically. If you are just acting a role and you are just playing to be good, then you can have knowledge about everything. But your role, your pretense, and I mean you are not genuine, you are not genuinely spiritual, you are just playing in it. This inauthentic state will choose the same state. Your brain will not be able to reach the pure informational field. You cannot draw from the primary torsion field the good events. I am explaining in simple terms now. You will not have the power, you will not have the necessary energetic charge. You shape your energy charge with your intention. It turns out that your intention, your desire, is the basis for superposition in order to choose from the primary torsion field. It turns out, in order to take the highest, in order to fulfill the perfect, in order to fulfill this immediately and arrive at your goal, you need to be an extraordinary, unusual person. You need to have this inner state, and this creates your energy charge, which allows you to reach the primary torsion field and draw from there. You can observe from there the necessary superposition and pull from there the desired event of life. You should not pretend to be spiritual. When you play in it, you can play for 1 year, for 7 years, for 9 years, but still, there will be a moment when you will stop playing. If you play here and then you are yourself, life cannot change for the better. Why? Because inwardly your principle is bad. Your inward request is contaminated and you attract the same. And yet you say, egregor is to blame. You are this egregor. Whatever you are inside, you attract the same. You attract the same energy informational structure. And I have proven it to you scientifically. Quantum physics, quantum dynamics speak about about it. Quantum mechanics speaks about it. Quantum biology, which is the new direction in science, also testifies to it. They explain these processes. Therefore, my friends, it's easy to seem, but very difficult to be. And you need to be. And nothing extraordinary should happen. You just need to be good people. You need to choose good superposition and be a good, kind person genuinely. Do not play a role. Many people take advantage of development, spirituality. They come to study with us. After being healed, they forget about us until the next time the disease comes back. Why do so? You can live a good life with no diseases. Develop, grow, apply this knowledge in your life. Do not argue. To argue with the truth, it's futile. The truth will be the truth. And you know why? There is such an understanding. Quantum true superposition. This is the highest process of creation, of supreme intelligence. This is the purest energy, with no impurities, with which only the purest individual can interact. The most kind, the most merciful, the most honest person, who only tells the truth, instead of saying something and then not being able to tell apart when it was the truth and lies. And that is why there are many people like this and we live like that. If science is speaking about it, I'm also speaking about it so that you hear me, so that I awaken you for good, right changes to happen on the planet. I am ready now to give a word to Sergei Arkadyevich. Yes, I have listened carefully and I have understood that the science has proven we have become intellectually dull. It's indeed very difficult to understand it all. And I have a question. It's related to the egregors. Today, I have found out that, for example, the earth is hollow inside. So, yesterday I lived my life without knowing it. Now, today I have found out it's hollow. How can my life change after this? Not really. Okay, whether it's dense, filled, or hollow, my life doesn't really change because of it. So, my question is, how, after hearing all of these difficult processes of transformation of consciousness, how thoughts affect reality, in what way this information can be applied practically in life by ordinary people? Right today, right now, a person needs to switch on their inner process of self-control, whereby they monitor their thoughts without allowing bad thoughts. This is the first serious step that every individual needs to take for their own life. And there is such an understanding as ethical values, mental ethical purity, whereby a person thinks only good thoughts for the humanity and the planet. To think only for yourself is good, but it's not enough. Because when you think about all people and take care of the planet, you have access to higher, pure, powerful fields which have the capacity to faster and more effectively create your reality, your happiness. They will give you your good life events, which you call happiness. And this requires that you have access to higher fields, which contain higher information. This information is available to various beings, such as beings who live on other planets, alien intelligence, or spiritual beings, you can call in different ways. And the formation of a planet is governed by them. They, by their consciousness, interact with the fluctuations, quantum superposition, and create the reality of this planet, for example. But you humans are also endowed with this capacity, given that you are not that developed, as you have mentioned, although there are, of course, very developed people, and you have the access to a certain superposition level, the low level, but they, by being highly developed, have access to higher levels of matter fluctuations, quantum fields, quantum superposition. They have this access. Their consciousness has this access. Your consciousness can access your level of quantum superposition, which means that people can create on their level, guardian seraphim create on their level, archangels create on their different level, but all of this is the work with quantum fields. Cosmos is designed for them and for us in the same way, but their expanded developed consciousness has more capacities, more abilities for the creative processes. So this is the collective matter. But if I have isolated myself and live in the mountain and I lead ascetic lifestyle, communicating with God, asking for forgiveness, and what about them? Does the egregor have nothing to do with them and they just live their independent lives and create their own reality? No, they also have their own egregor. An egregor is the energy informational structure. Whether it is positive, creative, or destructive, negative, depends on the individuals, on a group of people. The collective unconscious is an egregor too. Or the consciousness of the supreme intelligence is also an egregor, and this is the divine egregor with positive and negative charges. Both charges are necessary for creative processes because in the space-time continuum there is a process of creation, development, and destruction in order to create a different matter, just like leaves that fall from the trees, then they disintegrate into microelements, and then they penetrate the root system. The root system will take this organic matter and direct it into the future leaves that will grow in spring. This is the cycle, and this process is possible with the help of positive charge creation and the disintegration, which is the destructive process, and this is a negative charge as it is called in quantum physics. I will not continue telling you more because it's hard to comprehend it all. The next question. The next question is from Natalia. If I was baptized when I was a child without my agreement, and now I am studying on the first level with Natalia Vladimirovna, do I have to exit the influence of the collective religious egregor? My friends, do not waste time on this. Of course, we have traditions. There are religious egregors, yes, but you know, I have studied the life of Jesus Christ, and egregor existed back then too. There was the holy day of Pascha, and people went to church, to temples, and God is also an egregor, energy informational structure. So if you were baptized, nothing bad happened. They did not do any harm. Your parents wanted it this way. They wanted this way that will help you to be closer to spirituality, to God. They did not know that spirituality means they have to teach you how to pray, how to work in meditation, how to work with thoughts, how to work with energy, to never lie, to be a cultured person with good manners. This is what is necessary, my friends. But perhaps parents did not know about it. They thought by baptizing you they have done a good thing. And may it be so. Now, when you are an adult, a mature person, there is knowledge and I reveal it to you, and there is no need to hide from any egregors. My friends, it's impossible. every moment you change these egregors. People say you need to isolate or go away, escape from egregors, but it's impossible, my friends. As soon as you think of one another, you automatically, with your fields, with your photonic light fields, which you radiate, you can even measure it with devices. You connect to a person you're thinking about. You connect to their egregors, their field. You have only thought about the person and instantly you have connected and you influence each other. And you should not be afraid of it. You just need to be always in high vibration, in pure consciousness. Never wish any uh, harm, never deceive, never slander anybody. Be a pure, good person. And your purity, your pure field will protect you from destructive egregors. So you need to be a good person. If a person is deceitful, always tells a lie, a person is cunning, materialistic, and they slander other people, and they speak about egregors of other people. Go away from them, they have egregors. Come to my deceitful, cunning egregor. Here will be cool. My egregor is strong, knows how to lie, so you will connect to the necessary thing. And this is approximately so. This is how it is. If we look honestly at this position of life, this is how it looks like. Everything depends on you. So do not be upset about your baptism and church egregors. In churches, the Spirit of God is present. Yesterday, we celebrated the birth of Christ, even though the true date is on 21st of August, but I'm grateful to God, to people who commemorate this day, who remember at least once a year about the life of Jesus, that this personality lived and left behind knowledge, love, and showed the way to the kingdom of heaven. And it means he said, develop, dear people, and the planets are waiting for you, and the consciousness of beings there is much higher than here on this planet. He said, I did not come to proclaim peace here on earth. You will continue living in conflict. I have come to show you the path to the kingdom of heaven. And what is this kingdom of heaven? These are more developed planets, and they are created by the consciousness of evolved beings who work with the primary Toshan field and quantum superposition. They have shaped these worlds and planets, and they are awaiting humans, people who are honest and pure. Does not matter when you were baptized or whether you have been baptized. And what matters is that who you are when you go to the church, even if you go there, because the Spirit of God is present there too. When a kind person comes there with a pure heart and soul, the Spirit of God will descend to such person. If the unkind person with anger, greed, lies, and deception come there, they will have the result like that because they have come unpure and there is no resonance. The spirit, the pure spirit of God, is the energy of primary Toshan fields. It is a very high vibration. In order to enter a person needs to have the resonance with this spirit, and this requires that they are pure. The deceitful person will never attract this pure energy. These are the laws of physics, the laws of quantum dynamics and quantum physics. And that is why I urge you to be kind and compassionate when you come to study on the initial level. I do this work and I tell you because this is the foundation, your purity and responsibility when you come to the consultation and tell me about your problems. So what? This is the result of your life. And I tell you, let's do something about it. Let's begin to correct all of it. And it can be changed. It is possible. Quantum physics is a proof to it. But in order to change a situation, you need to change yourself. I share practices, methods with you, knowledge, attunement. I give you my energy. I feel you, purify, renew you, restore you. Some people continue this path, some take advantage and leave. They gain a result and they leave. That's it. There is no more tumor. Okay, why shall I continue this path? And then time passes and it comes back. Because a person showed selfishness towards the knowledge and cosmos. If you look at the supreme intelligence and quantum processes, you will see they are created by the greatest being, the supreme intelligence, which can be called the divine, spiritual egregor. This is the supreme intelligence. At the core of it is wisdom, purity, kindness, openness, love, joy. This is what is at the core of it, and he operates only with this vibration. If the selfish person comes, God helps, but you know, people need to change. You should not have this selfishness. I want to share the truth with you. When a person is selfish, when they are materialistic, they are unable to interact with pure, primary creative fields. They can interact only with the low, contaminated material egregor. Yes, this is also scientifically proven. The next question. The next question from Victor. Could you please tell us the choice of superposition? Does it depend on the inner state of a person or only the attention of the observer determines it? Depends and directly because the attention of an observer is their inner state, the intention as it is called. In order to shape reality, two factors are necessary: an intention and the strong concentration of attention. The attention is the process of affecting by consciousness. Your consciousness is involved in this moment, and your consciousness activates the observer. Concentration and your intention, the strong desire, make the choice. And the intention contains and the concentration contain the aspects of the inner state of a person. Whatever a person is determines the intention, and based on the intention, the choice is made. And Cosmos does not mind whether you are choosing bad or good. You will live either that or that. You will experience what you have chosen. You need to learn how to choose, and people had to develop to know how to do it, but people refused it, as they told me 20 years ago when I told them what was coming. But it's already good like this. I said, now it is good. What if time comes when you will not be able to come out of your houses? They laughed about it, and I was serious. Did not this happen? And doesn't it happen now? And you may say, so everything is already written. Yes and no. As I have told you today, a particle is so intelligent that it has all calculations of your choices, and it calculates it before you begin to choose, before you begin to have this certainty. A particle already knows in advance your choice. This is how intelligent it is. It knows. And therefore, when the quantum tunneling is happening, the instant reproduction happens. There are no quantum leaps as such. It's not the right expression. There is such a thing as quantum tunneling, which means when a certain wave is approaching another certain field, a wave superposition, it instantly produces a state. It does not jump anywhere, and it just instantly reproducing. And the double slit experiment shows you when the particles are shooting and without the observer, these are just waves. They are not just becoming waves somewhere. No, instantly they are waves, or with the presence of an observer, this are simultaneously particles. They are not correlated into waves. Correlation means modification. These particles are the particles when there is an observer. Without an observer, the particle is coming out and it's correlated into a wave. Raisa is asking, is it right to say that every family is a small egregor? When there is harmony and wonderful atmosphere in the family, it can protect against the destructive energy of social environment. Yes, my friends, every family has their own egregor, every family has their own environment and worldview. You need to live a good life with your families. You need to choose good life. You choose it with your thoughts. And how to believe in it, you need to understand it. How does it work? How can your faith be creating your reality? And if you remember, I told you, I have not mentioned it today, I told you once that in order to turn waves into particles, when they are becoming particles, they interact with time, they activate time. And in order for something to be shaped on the physical plane, time is necessary. That's why it does not happen instantly, because time is involved. It's one condition. And secondly, a person is convinced. When you once have activated a certain mental projection, it constantly works in you. And this mental projection says that nothing can happen instantly. You believe that everything takes time, and only later it becomes this or that. And this is your process of creation, and it's extended in time, it's manifested. And if you have doubts, you create doubts. The next question. The next question is from Chicago. Irene is asking, do animals, cats, dogs, and other animals influence egregors? And I can add, when they gather together, all these cats, dogs, do they also form an egregor, their own cat's egregor, let's say? Yes, of course. Everything abides by the laws of cosmos. All life, including plants, animals, everything lives according to the laws of quantum physics, including the animal world too. So the case with Mowgli is not only the fiction. Such children were found who lived with animals, so they're influenced by this energy. Yes, the waves of consciousness, and they emulate the behavior. Yes, the programs are activated, the animal programs, and their consciousness begins to live on animal programs. The last question, probably, Grigory is asking, does time in quantum reality have a physical state? As I have told you today, yes and no. If we take the primary torsion field and quantum, let's say, subatomic quantum state, the superposition, there is no time there. Until the quantum wave remains a wave, it is timeless. There is time, but you cannot measure it. But as soon as the wave is turning into a particle, then in this case the time is involved. My dear friends, we are going to finish our program. Of course, I understand a lot of it may not be very easy to understand, but if you have realized that you need to begin serious work on yourself and expand your consciousness, become responsible for your life, and accept everything that you have in your life because you have created it with your own hands. understand your mistakes, and it's hard to admit mistakes and realizing that something was wrong and now you have the outcomes. It's hard to admit the mistakes and become responsible. Ego will always justify itself, and ego is an egregor of destructive nature. But I want to wish you, and I want you to just do it. I really want it for you because I know it will change our world for the better. What you have in your life, if it's difficulties or problems, it is a fact and it exists. So even if it's destructive, you can change it. You begin these changes with yourself by admitting your mistakes and accepting it. And it is your path. If you have chosen it to be so, it means you had to do it because the superposition quantum particles knew what choice you were about to make, and it means it was meant to happen like this, even if it's destructive. It happened already, and it turns out quantum physics tells us with your present life, with your future choices, you impact your past, so you can influence your past. If your children are ill, if serious diagnoses are made, such as oncology and so on, turn to God. If you see what you have undertaken does not help, stop. Think about it. Awaken yourself, turn to God, change your thinking. There are so many miraculous healings. When the oncology diagnosis was made and a person was sent to die and this person is still alive. Why? They had faith in God. They have changed their position in life. They have become a different person after realizing, accepting and forgiving themselves and other people. They have started a new life and they are still alive. Do it like this. You can do it. No matter how difficult your life situation is, you can change everything for the better. I know it, and I have proven it to you today scientifically. No matter what is in your life, what matters is your intention, how you want to live your life, and whether you are ready to fulfill your desired, whether you are ready to maintain this inner intention and wait for the new choice to come true, how ready you are to be stable in your choices, whether you change your choices quickly. Today is one, tomorrow is something else. The science has proven it. And if it's so, roll up your sleeves, study, my friends, learn. Only you can help yourself. Cosmos, the Creator, the Supreme Intelligence have given you everything, but you need to make the choice. I hope that you have heard me and do it like this. I wish you to do so. And then it's the free will and choice of every person. I wish you a wonderful evening, good night, peaceful sky, and the joy for your souls. Thank you, and I will see you soon again. Goodbye.